I'd like to welcome everyone to the January 6, 2025 Village of Williamsville Planning Board meeting. Would everyone stand with me to say the pledge of allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And could we have roll call, please?
Member Liker,
Present.
Pacer,
Present.
Petroselli,
Here.
Stone,
Here.
Vitka,
Here.
Waterman Culpa,
Here.
Greco, Kephart,
Here.
Beck, here, Palumbo,
Here.
Han.
Here.
Thank you very much. Do we have a motion to approve the November 4th, 2024 minutes for the Williamsville Planning Board?
So moved.
A second?
I'll second.
And any discussion? Then all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes 6-0. Under old business, log 2024 PD09 for 5538 Main Street, Fortside Outfitters. Is someone here? Would you like to come up to the podium? Identify yourself and let us know what you need.
I'm Bob Brady from House Crafters.
Mhm. Okay,
I was told by Carol that the stuff that we used on there wasn't, wasn't the original. So we had to take everything apart. The framing was bad. We had to take the brick off on the bottom. Had to put new LVLs all the way around. The columns on the side were all bad. So we had to jack up the bottom and the basement, get that all set up. I have pictures here, everything that we had to do.
thank you.
He's bringing the stuff back.
So I think the reason that you're here tonight is that the storefront system that was installed at Courtside is not what was approved.
Well, we mirrored everything that was at the salon next door. The only thing,
Is the color the same?
yeah, everything's the same. Blacks, everything else the same. The only thing difference was the windows, and you guys approved the windows from the bronze, from black to the bronze, because they already were.
We approved black.
In the email.
You have that email? Is that in?
Yeah, it's in there.
Well, I think we were asked to approve it after the fact. wasn't we?
Yes,
Okay,
Yes.
Which is not exactly the same thing.
Good. Right. So I think that we were supposed to see the owner of the building this evening as well. So, because we had questions. So we have that center door that you said that you would be, replacing. And we've got two businesses with two different storefront system colors now. And we were asked to approve it for the record after the fact, but it was begrudgingly because the whole idea of having the same architects do the two projects would be that building was treated cohesively.
The
And
drawings that we got were totally different from what, everything that was changed afterwards, after the meeting. We had already ordered the windows. With the drawings that we got, stuff like that, that's how I ordered the windows and stuff like that. So they picked out the bronze for the color. And so that's what we ordered. And so when I talked to Carol about it, afterwards, they're saying black, that they had to be black. Then I gave you samples of both, and it was approved by you guys that, the bronze is okay. If you look at it now, you can't tell the difference. Everything's mirrored in that front of that building, the same,
So you,
as the
So
salon.
I just want to be clear. So what you're saying is that when the owner came in here and told us that they would do black, they already knew that they had ordered a different color. That's what you're telling me, right?
The people that, from Phil, he's the manager, he okayed that,
Okay, so he knew when he talked to us
that they were,
that
they
it was
were-
already
they were
on order and
bronze.
wasn't going to change.
they were bronze.
Okay,
So,
just,
well, can I just,
Why
so
is that
when did
important?
we approve bronze? This is what I'm asking, at that
There
meeting?
was nothing in the spec that said it had to be a certain color,
Mhm.
not the original one,
Where did the original one come from? Did it come
the
from
architect.
the architect
That lots
from,
and-
Right.
that has nothing to do with the planning board? That's, you're talking about the architect from the grant.
it was supplied by the
That's
county.
correct.
That's
Yeah.
it. So that has nothing to do with the planning board.
to understand the problem you
Yeah.
have, which is, from your perspective, you did what you were asked to do, right?
That's correct. I couldn't use anything
Right,
there.
so it's not really about you here, it's really about the owner walking in here and saying, sure, I'll do black, when they already knew that wasn't the case. Okay, so don't take it wrong,
Right.
you did what you were asked to do
Exactly.
by the person who hired you.
Yeah. And
It's
he,
just not what
he
they
is
were
the one
told to
that
do on the planning
okayed
board.
for us to do all that work over there. He says, do whatever it takes to make things right.
Right.
And he hasn't still paid us for all that work, that extra work that we've done.
So,
Yeah, it is.
Also, but that's not relevant for us.
so our question, I think, is for the owner. So now we have 2 storefronts installed. The door in the middle has not been updated yet. What is the plan moving forward?
Yeah, I plan on doing the door, that's outside of the grant. So I mentioned today to Carol, I'll do it after the weather breaks. That's not a problem for me to do it. The allegations are gonna raise things outside of it.
That's
Also,
But technically, I'm not even involved in this. It's the storefront, the county, and the village, and these guys.
Okay, so the approval was given based on the entire scope of work that was presented, that included the center door.
Correct.
Removing, I believe, the stoop there,
Right.
making it accessible to that point. And now we just need to know what's happening, what colors that door will need, because now we do have 2 different storefront colors. I can tell, I don't know if everyone can tell, but I can tell, I'm not pointing fingers,
Yeah, it's not
I
about the
can
work.
tell that you're right, the building, with updated materials, I think, has been very successful. But now we have like black, trim work, we've got bronze storefronts on the port side outfitters side. And then on 281 Nails, we have,
No, Morgan.
oh no, now they're Morgan. They have black storefront, black surround,
Mhm.
and so we're just wondering what's gonna happen with the rest of the building, because we approved black and black. Then there was email where, like, we didn't have a choice. In order for it to get signed off, we were told it was bronze already. That's all the choice we had. Either it went in or we got nothing for that building.
Mhm.
And so we said, I think under duress,
Right.
we do not want to do this, but put in the bronze, because we don't have any choice. People were talking about, do we ask them to paint it now? That was discussed, obviously negatively, because we do not want to paint the storefront system, because it's gonna look like,
You can't
Garbage in a
handle
couple
that
years.
bronze.
Right.
so.
Right, that's the problem.
We're like, okay, so then maybe we need to speak to the owner about where do we go from here, because things were done not in like the proper sequencing, and we were led to believe that we were getting something that we didn't end up getting, so now where does that leave the center doorway?
Well, the center doorway is all me, it has nothing to do with grants or anything else, so if I need a permit, they already said there's no permit required for the step, concrete.
Okay.
It's not wood. To make it clear, I'll file for a permit, whatever your color you want, I'll have the Aurora Glass is gonna do it, they did Morgan's. So they'll put whatever door that the board is satisfied with. I don't know about the two different colors, bronze or black, to be honest, I can't tell the difference.
We already approved black because we got everything.
That's right, exactly. We've already approved that.
It seems like to keep it the way it originally was conceived of as black, because you do have, even though the storefront's bronze, the turnaround it is not.
Right.
It seems
I
like
agree.
it makes the most sense to me anyway, to keep it black. What I want to know is, when will you have the work done?
Well,
For the
they're doing-
record, who you are, please, maybe identify yourself.
Yeah, identify yourself for the record.
Clifford Boncory, I own the property.
Thank
I spoke to Aurora Glass, and I can have it done as soon as they're available. They're doing some other work on the building as well. If you give me a few weeks, I think all it is putting the door in, and we have to paint the side and a little,
There's some light, something about a light.
There's a light.
yeah, a light that goes above. There is, there's a hall light that's on 24/7, all the way up in the back, going to the front.
Mhm.
So there's a little light, but we agreed to put the light up above the step.
I don't know if you can do the concrete work when it's
No, it's not.
like
Most
this,
of it,
maybe
yeah.
whether like this.
The step where I think we're just gonna do carpeting like it is. It looks bad now.
So right now, it's concrete, you're gonna make it wood?
No, keep the concrete and just cover it.
Is that carpet?
Carpeting.
Yeah, like an indoor outdoor carpeting, that's what's on it.
That's not what it said in the left, in the, it said the new center stairs will be concrete and dimensions coordinated with building department.
They're already concrete. We're not changing it. We just covered it. There was a question whether or not they're wood or concrete
Just now?
Just now.
Because
No,
you
no, at
started
the last
talking about
meeting.
wood.
at the meeting in November. Right.
I don't know.
October.
What kind of shape the concrete interview?
I think that was.
What's the concrete look like under the, you know? 'Cause
I have no idea.
Where is the approval?
And we have it right here.
Yeah, I mean, I got it.
It's,
See, the thing is, the way the resolution was written, it says the new center stairs,
Right,
not the covered center stairs or the repaired center
Right.
stairs.
Right.
It said the new center stairs shall be concrete.
yes,
So it
Put a
seems
new
to me like
concrete
you just
stair.
have to put in
That's right.
new stairs that are concrete.
right.
There's only one stair, first of all.
Well, whatever it is.
Hmm?
It needs to be new and it needs to be concrete.
That's what I got.
I'll
That's
put a
what
new
I
one,
got.
if that makes everybody happy, we'll put a new one.
yeah, so there's an approval, what date is that?
We won't cover it, we just need concrete.
This was
June 3rd, so June 3rd, 2024, there was an approval with 8 conditions that allowed the project to move forward. You just need to make sure all of them are met, including the new center stair, the new light fixture in the alcove, the replacement door shall be a full light door to match the frame, and then that we have already approved the 2 light storefront system in black to match both storefronts.
I know.
The gooseneck lighting to be installed above courtside outfitters signage. We'll talk about that in a second. The proposed signage from Morgan is not included in the approval action and is pending review, so that was separate. The exterior aluminum finishes were to be black, including the alcove door. And then the courtside outfitters shall explore Exhibit A as submitted on May 14th, 2024 as a flat sign or as a raised letter sign. So there were some questions from the planning board members as to the signs that were actually submitted. Did you
I
see
gave
those?
those to you.
Okay. So those went in as submitted, because the one looked a little small to the planning board members. They were different
Two different sizes.
sizes.
Yeah, I mean, that's He was told, I gave him the stuff in it, and that's the sign that we got from him.
Okay,
But it was the same, the logo and everything else is the same, it's just smaller.
Right, it's just smaller. It's right, smaller sign.
okay. Okay, so moving forward, we have an approval, we'll just, pass that on to code enforcement so that they can, make sure all the conditions of the approval are met then. If they have questions.
June.
June 3rd.
2024. And then there was an email saying, okay, they used bronze, not what was approved, but they used bronze. So I guess that could be attached in the information to the code enforcement officer. Thank you for coming in, Bob.
Okay.
May I ask you a question? Just to clarify my answer, so the door is gonna be the same company, Aurora Glass out of East Aurora.
Okay.
And the board wants black trim?
It has to be the black, tube-like storefront system.
So can we put that,
There's gonna be a full light door to
Right,
match
okay,
the
gotcha.
tube light system that was used.
I just wanna make sure they do everything right, so we don't have to go through this. And we're gonna put a new concrete step, one step, there's only one step there, no covering, just leave it concrete, right? And then painted white with a light on top,
Paint what light?
paint the inside.
The inside. Yeah,
The
the
ceiling
walls are
alcove, I
white.
believe, was to be painted black.
That's not-
All exterior finishes would be black.
Yeah, the
Also,
alcove was gonna
the
be black, and it was gonna be a black storefront system.
Right.
A black,
So the whole entranceway is black?
yes,
Yeah,
because you got black trim on both sides, so it's supposed to look like it was just part of that.
Right.
This was all written down, so I don't, that we're
No,
all,
it is already.
It's in the conditions from the June 3rd, 2024.
well, technically, though, that was for grant reasons.
No,
No,
that
was
was, no, sir,
Was
that
there-
was for the entire project, the whole work scope. That's why it includes lighting, it talks about signage, it talks about the stair, it talks about the light fixture at the stair, and it talks about the tube light system that's going, it was for everything, it wasn't just for the grant piece.
Well, the grant was the deadline issue.
Yes,
So I didn't know there was a deadline for me.
Well, it's a different deadline.
Well, it's just that that's where your approval was given in the
Okay.
same meeting.
So I'm not,
You
I'm not
didn't have their
objecting to anything.
deadline. You'd be right, though. if you had their deadline.
right, so that's your approval, so the code enforcement officer will be coordinating when your work is.
Well, what I'll make sure that the code enforcement officer has the resolution and the plans that were submitted. It's not just the resolution. You have to build what the plans were submitted to you or change via modification conditions of the resolution.
I don't.
So I'll give 'em both.
We did not have plans for this stuff.
Yeah, we're not doing anything structural, we're just
We had
replacing
no
the door.
pictures. We didn't even have any-
There was an architectural design plan that we forwarded to the planning board.
Yes.
After this meeting.
No, before.
No.
That's why it was on the agenda. It
Of
wouldn't
the
have been on,
alcove and
it
all
would
this-
not have been on the agenda
of
if
the
we didn't have the
center-
plans.
Of the center door and everything?
I don't
I
have that
think
file with me,
I
but
think
yes.
I was
I
in the
believe
meeting.
the exhibit was marked up to include the second door.
Here, at the
No,
meeting.
no, but I understand what the confusion is, because Courtside and Morgan both came to us
I remember,
with two sets of
I
plans,
remember two different people.
and they sort of left out the middle.
Right. I was 100%.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we sort of agreed just in our meeting that I would do that, but there was nothing ever.
But it's still was approved.
Yeah. So do I have a deadline to get it done?
I don't know if there's.
That would be in chapter 15. Once a building permit's issued, there's so much time. I don't know if it's a year or 2 years.
And do I need a permit if he's just changing the door?
That's up to the building department.
So I have to call the building department?
Yeah,
Yes.
just call me and I'll find out for you.
Okay.
So Carol, did the email then satisfy the requirement for the color change of the storefront, or is that something still in the resolution for?
I think from previous that we can't approve on an email, that you have to do it in a meeting.
One other thing though, did you talk about lights? Did you mention lights
Yes.
Oh, did you see the lights?
for the court side?
What about the lights?
Oh, because it said they show,
Yeah.
gooseneck lights should be installed above court side, out to the side.
There is 2 lights.
There is
We,
2.
we installed those, but I thought you talked about lights for that doorway that's next
There
door.
is an
Yeah,
outside
that lights for the
light.
doorway.
Yeah.
So what you're saying because the lights are sort of upside down?
Yeah, that was condition number 2.
Did you see the lights?
The new
He just
light
said-
features
he
shall be
just
We
said
haven't
that they're
installed
upside
in
down.
approved a light for there.
Well, because it does say on here, I thought gooseneck lighting.
No, but those are the
But
signs.
that's for the court side.
Oh.
The entrance.
Signage.
We're talking about the entrance.
Oh,
We're
okay.
just talking about 1 through 4 have to do with the center doorway, correct?
No, it says number 5, the gooseneck lighting shall be installed above courtside
Yes,
outfitter
Yes,
signage.
and 7,
Yeah, so that's on Main Street and on the side street.
right.
The light that's to be installed in the alcove where that center door is goes up on the ceiling there.
Which is number 2.
You want me to jump in? Have you seen the gooseneck lights that they installed above the signs?
Not above the sign.
They're
They're not above the
they're not
sign.
above, they're off
Oh,
to
yeah,
the side and
pointing up.
they're facing up toward the sky.
Yeah, so those need to be fixed.
Tipped.
They're
They're giant.
enormous.
It should be what was specified in the plans.
Yeah, that's.
Which is not the
it's
same
code-
picture. for sure.
Yeah, the code enforcement officer needs to deal with that.
Okay,
So if there's something non-compliant, we don't do
Center.
night sky compliant fixtures. That's
Right.
in our code, so if something's in compliance,
okay.
then the code enforcement officer should do it.
And also this was how they showed it in their own architectural
Right.
drawings.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's for the code enforcement officer, please.
Okay.
Okay. So
Thank you.
I guess I'll make a motion to approve the bronze storefront system at Courtside Outfitters 5538 Main Street for the following reason. That the storefront system was ordered in bronze. And the project was in jeopardy of not meeting the installation deadline set forth by the county through their grant to this project. If it was not allowed to be used by the planning board days before the project deadline.
No, it's a system, the Windows system.
Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye.
That makes me feel better.
So that's done. So that has been changed. We go to code enforcement for conditions and
Okay.
all approvals to make sure that they were done properly. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I don't
Next
have,
item on
I
the
said I'd do it,
agenda
but I
under
don't
new
have it.
business
What?
is log
All the stuff she's
2025 PB
the site
01
resolution
for
in your application.
5712 Main Street,
Yeah.
Squeeze Juicer.
Just copy.
Deal with site plan first, please, and then deal with signage.
The site plan.
Can you send me that stuff?
I can't hear you, I'm
Yes.
sorry.
This is site plan review, not application, right?
No, we're doing application.
What do you mean application? It's an application for site plan review.
It's a site,
This is the actual site plan.
Site
Not
modification.
sketch, sorry.
No, this is not a sketch plan. This was a complete application. I sent it to the interdepartmental reviewers. Shared those comments, as I said earlier, I shared those comments with the applicant. And the applicant can address those comments. We've actually already started to make the change.
Good evening. My name is James Doggy, owner of Attorney, Development, 570 New Buffalo, New York. Listen, you speak about it, I'll quickly walk through the application and the comments that were made. As the board is aware, this is a 7,200 square foot, two-story building that abuts north Elm Street to the east. It has about 34 parking spaces, only requires 18. Squeeze Juicery is taking 2,000 square feet on the eastern end of the building. They're proposing to add a 342 square foot seasonal patio on the southern and eastern sections of the building. Aware of that. The main patio area is going to be 11 feet deep, that's on Main Street, by 35 feet wide, and the side is going to be 32 feet long by 4.5 feet wide. We're proposing 2 seat tables, they're about 2 feet wide, and we're proposing on the plan 2 against the building and the other 5 against the edge of the patio. That means 7 feet between the tables. Move around it. We're proposing 7 mixed benches and other chairs along the side on Elm Street, tucked in on that small patio. I know an issue that was raised was the site distance. I had our engineer do this diagram. I made copies and I walked through it so we can understand that the patio is not in the line of sight triangle as required by the DOT.
And Ms. Bagley, I know that you might not be a traffic engineer, I'm not a traffic engineer, but this Class B intersection, how is that classification derived? Obviously 44,000 cars on Main Street, much fewer on Ellicott, but it is going on to Main Street,
Yes.
so how does that work?
Can I have one of those sheets?
Sure.
Thank you.
So that's the DOT's classification for this intersection, not ours. It's because the DOT, they classify it as Class B. So I
So
don't
you go
know,
to them and they give you the
I don't
classification.
understand how they do it, but they do DOT.
I'm looking at the,
Yeah.
the design manual, and classifications are mentioned, but Class B wasn't mentioned anywhere in the document.
So we spoke to DOT on that, which is how we got to Class B. And what we did is we used their manual, it's their design manual, dated January 2015. And they have an appendix on line of sight triangles based on the intersection. So we don't care what's coming from the east, because our building doesn't impact what's coming from the east. When you pulled up to North Ellicott and you're there and you look to the east, that's not our site. When you look to the west, their manual requires that you have 335 feet of visibility. We did do this diagram, you see the line of sight triangle. This is right out of their manual. It shows we have 335 feet of visibility. So our patio is out of the line of sight for this building. And what's also interesting is your code allows the building to be at 0, right? And this building, we set the building back to allow for these patios, so the building is not forward. So when we originally got it approved, we created this space so the building would not be pushed to the site, creating a line of sight issue. Also, for this patio, we're not proposing any railings or anything high. That would be solid, so you can also, even if you didn't post bar at the stop bar, you could still see down the road. It's a seasonal patio, so those tables in Buffalo will be on, April through September, I assume. So does anyone have any questions about the line of sight drawing?
So this doesn't take into account line of sight on North Ellicott, this is just the state, just Main Street.
This is what's required by DOT, so what?
Well, I actually did find B. So A is rural.
Yeah.
B is rural town.
Yeah.
This is not rural town.
But this is, I understand, this is what this qualified as, based on me talking to DOT, this is what they told us it was. And I'm happy to have a traffic engineer come in and talk about it.
I just never.
Maybe it was an intern who didn't know how to interpret it, but this is very confusing.
Yeah, well, have you ever seen one like this? Usually I've seen like a 45-degree at a corner.
Yeah.
No line of sight each way.
That's on site.
That's on site.
That's
That's
on
on
site.
site.
Yeah.
But in this district, how could we apply that since the buildings can be 0?
True, but then you look at where the sidewalk is, how far that is from the building, and there may be enough when you do the diagonal. So it may not be an issue here, I'm just asking, I just never seen. a site-
In the mixed-use district, I don't think we call it out.
Okay.
Anywhere.
I mean, I think your point's right, if you could build to 0 feet and you put a 45 on the corner, you probably still have your
And we could push that building up right to the property line, which is that red line, and it would still be added to line of sight traffic.
Right.
And now the building is pushed back, and we're looking for pavers and tables, so we're out of the line of sight area. That's why we have this diagram done. And I am not an engineer, I'm an attorney, I do this a lot, and I ask for these diagrams to be printed up for us so we can look at it. I knew that was an issue.
Normally what I see is a fence at a corner and you cut a 45-degree across it to see what the site is.
So when you pull up to the stop bar in North Ellicott, we are out of that line of sight, as you can see. The line of sight goes against our property line and then out into the road. So that is our line of sight issue. We did get Gary's memo. We did submit a response to it. I can walk through some of those. One was the marker, and I'm going to apologize if that marker is not up. If we get to the point where we're approving this patio, I will take a condition that marker is up before we open the patio. And I'm happy to put that marker up. That is something I would apologize, inadvertently got missed when we built the building. Sometimes those things happen, and no one brought our attention to recently, but I have no problem doing that. We've never let a marker stop a project. So I'm happy to take that condition. As far as the landscaping, we did make all the changes. We do need to count the plants with Gary and the landscape architect to make sure we're there. But basically, you require 34 landscape units. We have 69 units, so we're almost double what your requirement is. We did lose 1% of landscape area, 330 square feet, which is the patio. We are willing to offset that by putting the trees that are requested in the parking lot. So I know the landscape consultant asked for trees in the parking lot and those islands. There are currently no trees, there's some low shrubbery. I have no problem adding trees to that area, so we can get some trees in the back of the site. Besides that, it's really a pretty basic project. The materials match what Chipotle has as far as the pavers and the historic aggregate. So the two patios will look the same across the building.
Was the decision with Chipotle for the railing, was that a safety buffer for or perceived feeling for those dining, that there was something between them and cars that could come in, and this one's closer to the corner, so.
Chipotle, that was actually Chipotle was gonna really sell alcohol. I don't believe they do. I don't know if they do or they don't. When you have a patio with alcohol, you have to be railed off from access ways. So at one point they were doing alcohol. I don't know if they did it at this site. I think a lot of sites they pulled back, but that was dictated. We'd rather have more of a pedestrian experience that you can walk in and out. That the patio is set back behind the landscaping. The landscaping that is in those islands includes Kelsey dogwood, coral wells, and pine knockout roses. They're all lower in scale. I'm happy to work with the landscape architect if there's something else that they would like to see in there. It's not a problem for us. We don't want anything with too much height, based on the fact that it still is on the corner. But that's why the railing was originally built there.
Okay.
Basically,
we're seeing a lot of seniors driving the buildings these days.
You know, I mean, if the board wanted a railing, that's possible.
I'm
We
just asking about what the history was on the other side of the
but
building.
that was,
Did a good job about it.
However, 112.16B, trying to find it. I'll find it in a second, but basically says there needs to be a barrier.
In the, for an outdoor seating area, you're talking about?
Here we go, it's 112.16.5, buffers and screens, buffer patches, and blah, blah, blah. All side yard lots. Fencing shall be consistent. But if there is, I have to find it again.
There is a provision for
In the design
outdoor, in the design, in the outdoor seating section that requires either a DOT approved barrier or 10 feet. You have to be separated from.
seasonal outdoor seating area must be either separated from any public or private area used for the parking or the movement of automobiles by a buffer of at least 10 feet in width, or an appropriate DOT-approved anti-ram vehicle barrier, or located on an elevated platform constructed of concrete, wood, or other sturdy materials at least 6 inches in height and equipped with an appropriate barrier.
So this is 17 feet from the edge of the patio to the curb on Main Street. And a dimension that I will have to check.
I only have a small set of plans, so I can't.
Yeah, there's 6 feet, but I think it's 6 feet to the property line. And I don't see the dimension between the property line and the curb. But is this 10 feet?
But also from your delicate.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
One of the ones that
Here,
they have to.
does it say 10 foot 7 inches up there?
Doesn't look like that's
From the edge of the
Yeah, that
building
doesn't
to the
look
edge of
like
the property
Or
line?
feet, because it's 6'6".
What I need to know is from here
The
to
property.
What could you
does,
do?
No,
The street's further
I'm
out
not
than
gonna
that.
guess. It-
I mean, we
I mean,
know
that's
the
easy.
seating at Spot was hit, I mean, you know, someone ran right into those. So, I mean, you're opposed to any type of fencing?
No, I've been, sometimes we do, the railings with the, yeah, they're bollards that they're built within the railing.
Yeah.
And then they're set at a spacing so cars can't get through them. I have no problem considering that. They want to have more of an open, the way Williamsville is with the people walk, especially when you have music on Main Street, people walk around and off the patio. It's a juicery, so they're more looking for that kind of push alcohol. But I'm happy to bring that. We set 17 feet off of Main Street, so that exceeded your distance. I could run it up Ellicott. We could do that, or I can run it all the way around. I have no choice but.
It would seem like if you're that close to the sidewalk on Main Street, if you don't have a railing and it's busy, people are just gonna walk through the garden. You got such low plantings there and everything else, I might see that.
I mean, typically what we do is a bollard with
Yeah.
the black railing. It doesn't really stand out.
Right.
The thickest part is the fence post itself.
Is that the same thing you have down?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's the exact same thing over around Sun Cuisine, except that.
Oh, no, I wasn't talking about that one, I'm talking about in this building down at, Chipotle.
Yes. Same thing. as
Same,
well.
same thing, okay.
We use brick and sun, you know, that's how you move the building, that's the back there.
And the pavers with the exposed aggregate, that is what's at Chipotle?
Yes.
Okay. Google makes it look like it's.
I walked on it once. I think it feels right.
It is, in this paper, it's goes aggregate.
Which is another good reason to have a fence there, it's like the rails.
So you're gonna tear out the concrete that's currently there
Mhm.
and then put pavers in?
That is correct.
Okay, and the cut sheets for the furniture that they wanted to go out. There were chairs and then there were tables and chairs.
Actually, another good reason for putting up a fence, so that the chairs don't migrate out to the sidewalk.
Some of them were located in like renderings right on the sidewalk.
We can run it like that. I would agree on the railing, so we can look at it. And I agree they'll contain the patio and whatever furniture's on it.
And then you're still proposing the umbrellas?
Right now, we're proposing it.
So if you do the L-shaped railing,
Mhm.
would there be a gap from the side, on the Ellicott side, from the sidewalk to get in?
I'd have to take a look at that, but I would believe that would be something you want. I gotta talk to Squeeze specifically about that, but I would believe that they want some sort of access into the sidewalk on that side.
Because otherwise, at least the rendering communicates that they're going to
Yes,
It's a cut across sidewalk
Yeah.
to the left there.
you have access to the sidewalk and patio right there, it's not, there's no landscape.
It does look like you show a sidewalk to North Ellicott off the east.
We don't show any landscape, so that, there's a sidewalk,
Yeah.
and we can see that we just provide the patio to.
Patio.
And we're gonna go over the caliber of the deciduous trees that are gonna go in the parking lot with the landscape architect.
We will work with Jeff and go
Yeah,
over that
Jeff.
and make sure we work those items out.
We could. That's covered in, the suggested condition of approval, number 6. What I would expect to happen is after you look at the draft conditions, there's a couple that could be removed at this point because I know they've already been addressed. There's one that we definitely need to add regarding, I made a last minute change. I thought it was a typo, and actually what I missed was
It's on your recommendation.
number 9 from the 2019. We'll put that back in. Once you have measurable conditions and modifications, the staff, will work with the applicant, and when those plans meet the conditions of your approval, that's when we'll tell the building department permit can be granted. Which is the same way we've done it in the past.
Well, I would take a condition that the patio not be open until that historic marker is installed, just so the board is aware that it'll be up before we open the patio. Because you get a permit to build the patio, that may or may not be up, but while we're building that, we'll put that marker up.
That doesn't hurt.
When is the patio you built?
I'm assuming we're not starting the patio until spring at this point.
March, right?
Yeah.
So I think one of the original conditions was that they need to come to the planning board for approval.
Okay.
So you've got 3 months?
Yeah.
Just a marker.
Just the
I
marker.
think through HPC too. HPC should be the one that should comment on what's on there.
We're just gonna, I think I pointed out one, that name and most Rolos, we'll just go take a picture of that. And
Yeah, kind of match that.
we'll match whatever is there. That was the one that was pointed to.
The town has recently acquired some.
Okay.
You could check with James Quinn, see how.
Oh, this is a different kind. So
Never
it
mind.
might be, unless they did Department of Education types Pomeroy sign instead of what the Ice House had. So you know the blue and yellow signs
Yes.
that are everywhere, the Pomeroy type
Yeah.
signs. The town just had some of those installed, or no, they repaired one that was on Arrow, and we had some bronze type signs installed that are much like the landmark signs through Amherst and Williamsville. But the one at the Ice House was the green, on a post, a little more decorative with some pictorial signage, giving some history and stuff like that. So I think that was the intention of the original condition number 9.
More the green one. with
The green one with some photograph of the Hershey farm or whatever it is.
I'll run up and take a picture of it.
Yeah.
I'll give it to my son.
It's pretty worn.
Well, I'll take a picture of it and set them on it. They'll come on.
Thank you. Okay, so, does anybody have any more comments or questions?
Well, other than that, putting up the sign should not be one of our conditions now, because it's a condition that already exists. We don't have to reaffirm it.
Well, he's offering to put a time stamp in there.
Yeah.
I'd like to hold them to that one.
So Tom, when we write that up, we'll refer to the 2019 condition.
Yes, that's exactly how it's getting worded.
I guess where would we want that sign?
Yeah, where do you propose putting it? Separate, baby.
It says within view of pedestrians. I'd have to take a look at, I won't put it on the corner. So,
You've got that deep landscape bed though.
In the middle.
Mike, or-
in the middle in front of Jersey Mike's, we have that deep landscape bed. I would say, without talking to my sign people, that would be the most likely location for it. Because that's the deepest bit of landscape we have on Main Street.
It's our 175th.
And then you guys give us the exact location when we see you next before March.
I'll mark it on the plan and give it that.
Okay, so no additional lighting. No, we don't have a cut sheet for the umbrellas. Are the umbrellas going to have text on them?
The umbrellas will not have text on them.
Your resolution doesn't have anything about the, outdoor seating
No,
furniture?
the outdoor, season outdoor seating is a permit that goes from the code enforcement officer. They approve that plan. The applicants have already submitted that, but Mark's not doing anything with that until you guys approve the site plan. So once you approve the site plan, then Mark can move forward with the outdoor seating. Mark and or Tony, I always.
And then can we make a condition that the umbrellas do not have text on them?
Yes, but I would keep that separate from the outdoor seating.
From the site plan?
Keep it in the site plan.
Keep it in the site plan?
Yes.
Okay.
You're not approving the outdoor seating, you're approving the patio.
Right.
We got no say.
Otherwise we get Sam Adams,
Yeah.
umbrellas everywhere.
Shouldn't that be signage based on your code,
You would think.
right? I mean, that'd be like great signage. I'm just familiar with your code, so.
We're working on it.
So, no, there's gonna be no, well, we're fine with the condition, there's no,
Okay, great.
no text on it.
Okay, I don't think anything else is the same from here.
So we're doing the railing?
Yeah.
Okay, put that as a condition?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that railing only necessary if they're less than 10 feet between the patio and the
No,
curb?
I think we agreed because it was on Main Street and I was gonna wrap it around.
Railing to match style of
Yeah.
Chipotle.
So that's already in condition number 3. So the proposed patio will match the existing patio on the west end of the building in material, design, and color, including the garb. Okay, and I'll attempt to make a motion, and then if I've forgotten anything, we can add that.
You can eliminate number 1, basically replace that with number 9. And I noted in the second page of my staff report to you.
Should I make a motion? Make a motion to approve log 2025 PB01 5712 Main Street Squeeze Juicery for site plan review with the following conditions. That's condition 9 from the June 3rd, 2019 approval be installed prior to the patio installation.
Opening?
I'm sorry, what?
We'll do opening of the patio?
That would be a certificate of appropriateness, so or a
No.
certificate of
Yeah.
occupancy, so.
And that's easier
That's
for Mark
fine.
to track.
Yeah, so corrected that it would be, the opening of the patio, prior to the opening of the patio. Opening and use of the patio. Number 2, that the landscape plan to show the proposed net difference in landscaping area and planting units. We don't have to use planting units because he has twice as much, but,
You can eliminate that condition as they've already added what I asked for to the plans.
so we're just going to make that the deciduous trees one and just eliminate number 2 totally?
Yes, because we talk about the trees in condition
Second page, no, it's number 6.
6.
Okay.
So we don't
I'm
need
sorry,
condition
Carol.
number
We're
2?
gonna get rid of condition number 2. So it goes from condition number 1 being, the condition number 9 from the June 3rd, 2019 approval to be installed prior to the use of the patio.
Maybe she forgot something.
To condition 2, that the proposed patio will match the existing patio on the west end of the building in material, design, and color, including the guard railing. Condition number 3, that sheet C7.0 be revised to add a legend with symbols depicting the vegetation types and a proposed plant schedules per chapter 57-3C8 and per chapter 57-4K1.
That's also good.
The revised plans do have that now. We got today.
We got them a couple of hours ago, so.
I was taking care of my sick mother, so I was not here and dropped them off as soon as I got them.
Sorry, Carol, we're striking that one. So number
Okay.
3 will be. Does your plan call for protecting the existing vegetation?
Yes, it's on there also.
Condition
It's in the letter. I didn't see that in the plans.
It's on the plan also.
No, I'm so
Or either-
confused.
Either way, it's gonna.
Yeah, it's done.
So we're back to just having 2 conditions.
Now we're
We're gonna
on
work
number
on
3.
third. Now we're on 3rd, okay.
Now we're on number 3.
Hold on, I got it.
That sheet C7.0 will be revised to provide large deciduous trees in the parking lot island per chapter 112, 16E, 3A. Period. And that the trees will meet the conditions of the landscape architect reviewer from the town. Condition 4. The proposed action, site plan application change is a type 2 action under seeker and no further review by the planning board is required. 5. That the site plan review for the proposed landscape changes in patio excludes review/approval of any changes to exterior facade or building lighting, which would require review by the planning board for conformance with section 112.23F architectural review of the village code. And number 6, that the site plan review for the proposed patio excludes review or approval of the sign permit application received October 22nd, 2014. 2024. And number 7, that the umbrellas on the patio will not have text upon their initial installation or any future replacements. Do I have a second of that motion?
Second,
Is there any discussion? Is anything forgotten?
that was good.
I just want to say, I think in the beginning, for the number 2025 PB, I think you said 01 and it's 05 is what I have on here. Am I looking?
I don't have a
It says 01
It
and it
is-
says 05, so.
It
which
is-
one it?
Which one is it?
draft resolution on this.
It does, but the
Carol, would-
agenda says.
we changed midstream.
Oh.
Carol did the agenda using 05 numbers or 2025 numbers. The 05 is a holdover from,
So it should be 01.
should be 01.
Because it's the
So
first new
the motion
business.
is correct, we'll just have them change the resolution. Okay. All in favor?
Crazy.
Any opposed? No, motion passes.
In the
Carries.
resolution, it says 05, but it's
Oh.
meant to say 01 because it's the first matter of new business in 25. You're good. I read it right here.
overhead not work? Is that why we don't use the?
Pardon?
I don't have
That works.
digital
One of them doesn't
stuff
work, I thought.
in time to set up. If
We
you'd
have
like,
used that
if
one
you'd
in
like
a
those, we'll have
previous
to do a
meeting.
PowerPoint every
Yeah,
meeting.
but I thought the
I mean,
one
we
time
have
James was here for
a couple
HPC, it didn't work.
We were keeping, I guess.
Well, we've
Did
done
they
some of
adjourn the
them.
meeting?
When I have stuff in
I
advance,
didn't use it today, but I
without,
used
No,
it
did they
uh,
adjourn the meeting?
young
Oh,
Mr.
no, I don't
Quinn,
think so.
I don't actually
I
have
thought that they
taken the
adjourned. That's what I
time
thought
to
that we
make
missed.
them. When James comes back,
Okay.
I'll start doing
I
it.
think we're adjourning.
I don't know. I thought I missed something.
Okay, so this is the marked up resolution, who wants it?
Oh, here.
This to Carol. I'm gonna give you guys this, if you want it, okay, file that has the address down there. Governor.
There's another typo. No.
Okay, so now we'll go on to new business 2025 PBO 1 for 5712 Main Street, Suite G3 for signage. Like this podium and identify yourself.
What is this?
This is for the signage.
No, what is this?
Oh, these are the pictures of everything they had to do. It's their sob story from what's it called?
That side, representing 5712 Main Street, Williamsville, for squeeze juicer in regards to relief in signage. From what I understand, the building is already over the allotted signage. I believe that's what I was told. And so I guess I'm here today to find out how much is allowed and where we can make exceptions.
Well, unless you have everybody else take down their signs. So let's move forward with the signs that are being proposed.
Mhm.
And see what we can work out here. So,
That's one quick question.
Yep.
Is it the total square footage of signs or the total number of signs?
Numbers.
This-
I mean, well, I don't know whether,
This-
but there is a limit on both.
there's the sign officer reads it as total per facade. But this is a multi-tenant building, but the sign regulation is not very clear when it comes to multi-tenant buildings.
But it is the number of signs on the facade. not
The sign officer is asking you to look at the total area, not the number. He has no problem with the number. He has a problem with the total area. And the other reason, and it's not, you're not seeking relief. I think that's what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I'm splitting hairs. Halo signs are not directly addressed in the sign code. Chip has pointed something out to me that if you read the definition of internal sign and look at how halo signs are made, it should be
Well,
addressed
you have to-
as an
Yeah, you just have to, you
An
have to
internal
read
sign.
the definitions of reverse channel letter, which is a channel letter that has the face and sides with no back and is pinned out from the background surface so as to produce a halo effect around the letter when illuminated. So I think that's a halo sign, as I read that. I think that was what the intent was. And then an external illuminated sign is illumination by a light source located outside of the sign structure or lettering that is directed at the sign face. And internal illumination is defined as illumination by a light source contained within the sign structure lettering. So I think the way I read that, reverse channel lettering or halo sign is an internally illuminated sign.
So they were just using the wrong terminology. So in the future, this type of sign is called a reverse channel letter sign in our code.
Reverse.
So is that what the
Not in your
Definition of
sign.
channel lettering.
Everybody.
Everybody? Okay.
Yeah, we started using that on some Isco properties on Main Street and South Union, like a really long time ago, before the code was updated. They were the first ones to be using it.
I use those to match the rest of the facade, so it was all uniform throughout.
And so the proposed, so we have some paperwork with X's through some stuff. So can you identify exactly which signs you're asking for?
Okay, so this one here is on the first page, this is the front sign. Which would be a reverse channel letter, which is that, example picture I gave you guys of the letter A. That's how it's structured. And then, I think you're in the beginning, there is no backer plate on this, so there is no white panel going behind. Each one of those letters would be mounted with the 2-inch studs that's required with the aluminum spacers.
So these are standing out. from-
Yeah, so they will be attached to the building individually with no backer, and each one will be wired to the building individually.
I think the comment was that it makes it look like the
Yeah.
entire signboard is the sign.
Yeah,
Right,
it's the sign band itself is the backer for the sign.
right. So like my favorite signs in the village are Bubble Aquas down there. We got Lloyd Taco, Fresh Poke, Woodhouse Spa.
Yeah.
So the Woodhouse is the anomaly, right? It's the dark brown with the reverse channel letters and the white that are smaller, right there at the corner of that building. And the rest of them, they have like a sign on the signboard with the applied letters that are the reverse channel. So is it, and that's what Jersey Mike has, Chipotle has, like, so all the other signs on that building kind of are going with that motif. Would your client be interested in boxing that out to make it look like a sign on the sideboard instead of just applied letters?
Originally, I did actually have it drawn up as a white, we call that pan in the sign industry. It's a face pan that flip it over, it's kind of, it has sides and looks like a pan.
Yep.
And then all the wires go into that, and then you just wire it through the wall behind that. And it was white.
Okay.
And I understand that Benderson actually did not want the white pan because the fascia itself was white.
Okay.
So instead of doing that, they said individually mount them. And they did convey that you did like to have that background there. And I did talk to the customer, and with the customer's logo and with the look of the building, I couldn't really find a color other than like all of their branding is white in the background. So they didn't want to change that because that's like a key element of their logo.
Well, then they just can't go there.
So I did try that. I asked if they would like switch the color of the squeeze juicery to white and maybe make the backer green or change it around in that way. And that changes the whole branding. Yeah.
Now, are the orange,
Teardrops,
whatever they are?
yeah, those are able lit as well. Yep.
So here's the thing. What we're hearing from the sign officer here is that it's too much square footage of sign on the facade.
Okay.
Right? And if I want to figure out a way, other than squeezing that down to its teeny tiniest size,
Yeah.
to make this look smaller, right? So that we can then maybe provide a waiver or some such, right? Making it look bigger isn't the way to go.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I mean, this is based off of Jersey Mike's. So when I went and did this survey originally, I actually put my measuring tape up and got an idea of the size of Jersey Mike's. I didn't bring that packet with me. I thought I had those notes. And I based it off the Jersey Mike's with the backer. Now the backer's off, it's actually smaller than the Jersey Mike's, like square footage wise.
Right, the size of letters, but
Yeah.
but now you've made the whole facade the sign.
Visually, that's how the.
Visually, it's
Okay,
the
so
whole
that's
facade.
how it works, because
That's
sometimes.
not how we measure it, that's not how we measure it, Tyler.
So,
I mean, that's-
We don't measure the
No,
signboard.
I'm talking about it aesthetically.
But
How it
the
looks.
code, the code enforcement officer the sign regs say, show us a sign ban. Then the sign itself is a box that includes the letters.
Right. When you're dealing with individual letters, it's, you just measure the width of the letter, you know, the total width that the letters occupy by the total height.
It'd be 27 by 180.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I was just saying I'll clarify.
Right.
Aesthetically, it makes it look like the whole thing is.
No, I understand that too. I'm trying to understand what Mark, so how did Mark, right, how did he determine that this was too
I
big?
can't speak for him, but I believe he counts all the signs together on a facade, not per tenant.
There was an email from Mark included in the packet.
I guess I didn't see that. Sorry.
Proposed sign in conjunction with the existing signage exceeds the allowable CU limit 50 square feet per facade, and the proposed internal sign is not meet chapter 84.
And it just as a clarification on that,
50 square feet per facade, is that what it is?
Yes.
So 50 square feet is what is allotted.
Per
Yes.
facade.
Yes.
Because the side sign, this one here that you guys are talking about, the acrylic sign, I mean, personally, I would love for, our customer to have a sign. And if this is part of it that's taking it over, it could be a discussion I could have with the customer to just do the front. At 30
no, it's per facade.
Per facade.
Yeah.
You're making a
Oh,
separate, a
Size
separate
is
problem.
different side of the
Oh,
building.
okay.
And he's on a corner, so he's really allowed to have
Yes.
one on each.
Yeah, of course.
All right, I wasn't sure,
Yeah.
because,
It's all part of being on the block.
I guess I'm just confused as what we need to do
So
to
what
get
is,
within that.
what is the square footage of this letter area on the,
33.75.
which is under 50?
That's pretty well.
But that's what I'm trying to see, where, so what Mark is saying, that the whole facade exceeds.
Yes.
So that would be the rest of the tenant space?
That's in,
No, that
that's
was
in
connected.
H is wall sign. And then there's a table. And the second line in the table is the maximum area. I'm sorry.
Oh, H.
H.
Okay,
Second line. Maximum area.
Hmm.
57 inches by
I don't know.
We're talking about the side?
And then there's a note. So,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
so we count all the signage as one collective sign on a facade, and it could be a maximum of 50 square feet. Now, that, anything above that, planning board would have to address. You don't need to bring it down to 50. If
Yeah.
it was down to 50, Mark would approve it.
We can just approve it.
You have the ability to grant a waiver with a reason. Part of that reason is the signs are appropriate for their bays,
Right.
but because there's 4 bays, 4 stores, it exceeds 50. And it's the same thing with the halo. That's,
Because this says
An
external,
internal.
which that blows my mind, frankly,
well,
given the number of halos. I mean, according to the way this is written, you can actually only have halo lighting in the M1 district. That's
yes,
crazy.
but they have the ability to do the waiver
No, I understand
under.
that. But I think that's a mistake. Like, I don't think
Yes,
that was the.
well, I'm not
intent.
disagreeing with
Does
you.
yours have halo lighting?
Yeah, this is technically a halo that's not, yeah.
The
I
halo
mean,
light-
I mean, if this,
Well, I know you guys have it as a
reverse
reverse
Yeah,
channel,
yeah,
but if
yeah.
you look at the words describing reverse channel,
It says
it
halo.
describes exactly what that.
So we could just say
Mhm.
this is okay?
Actually, I have an example.
Yeah. So
In my
there's no
bag,
question.
If you guys need to see that.
I think it's just because.
Wish Christina's here. She's the one who's,
It's just going to look so much, it's going to look
I
out
don't-
of place with the other.
So what
side.
is the total
Well-
So there's what, there's 3 signs across this facade?
Every,
Three already.
There's already 3?
Yeah,
Already three.
the cell phone store,
Chipotle
Chipotle,
and
and
Jersey
Jersey
Mike's.
Mike's.
And do we know what the marks?
I don't
emails
have,
say what the
I don't
total-
have the email.
Well, how we
if we
think
had
he's
the-
gonna waive.
Um,
the total.
hold on.
I think Carol's got it, Chip. I think Carol's got it. Give her a sec. What do you need?
oh, yeah, it is the same sign.
I don't have it.
Like how big that sign was, just to get an idea of.
So Chipotle's 9 or
In
12.
reference.
I have all of the,
Sorry.
I have all 4 of the sign information here.
There you go, Carol.
Again, just from my perspective, aesthetically, it's different than all the other signs.
Yes.
They're all.
It's
they all
because
have
of the no
different
back
structures.
and forth.
Yeah.
So like in this
I
picture
understand
here,
the
you show
branding and all
one.
that.
That's everything. So in this picture here, they show this board that we're wanting, that we're talking about, like Jersey Mike's. I mean, they're not having orange, but you see how you're saying if it had something like this, that's what you're saying, right? But they don't want it.
Okay, so Chipotle's 12
I
feet
don't
there.
have that one for another sign, the one that you guys have.
This one?
Yeah.
Has Chipotle's been proposed in- How big is that?
What do you need, this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, just give me that one back at the end. Yeah, yeah.
Right,
Just give me that one back at the end of the meeting.
And
Please.
basically the cumulative.
Yeah,
all
they-
the- like the unified-
Oh, this one. Then he's over.
It would be just for record.
Should have a number, I understand.
But
But by the time they got to the second sign, it had to be this way.
This
You
is,
know what I'm saying? It had to be this way from the second sign.
So I see that the sign.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about Christine Hunt. That's Colin.
They all have the same.
I'm sorry. No, Christine Hunt was running around in here, scared the crap
I don't
out
know
of
why
me.
there's some of them Xed off on there.
Well, I think one of them was upside down.
I don't, and I'm not exactly
Who
sure,
knows what happened?
because I never even received a copy of that one.
260.
So you're the sign expert.
Yeah.
So if we are saying it would look better with a, I don't know the language for it, backer board or whatever, on it. You already tried that.
If you add a hand, in my opinion, I think it will make the sign look big.
Better.
It'll make it look bigger though as well,
It'll make it
because
look
it's gonna be taller, because it has to have a little bit of height on it.
Right,
Because if you don't want the halo effect to hit the backer board
right,
and then shine onto the face too, because then it looks like the backer board's not complete.
right.
You wanna have it so whatever back surface that those lights are hitting, you want it to hit all of the same surface. So if we make it a little taller and a little wider, technically, I don't know how it is in your code, but the pews, the backer board is considered part of the sign. So if we go a bigger backer board, we're actually extending the square footage of the sign.
Okay.
Yeah.
But truthfully, that's something we're gonna have to say is okay anyhow, because of all these
Yeah.
things. But if it will make the sign look more uniform to the other signs, that's, I think, what we're talking about. I think that's what Tom's talking
Yeah,
about,
that's-
the uniformity of the signs.
Does he?
That's why I went originally with the
Well,
backer.
that makes sense, well, you're the sign expert, so
To make
that's
it-
why I asked.
I went with the backer because all of the other signs have that
backer board
logo.
on it?
Right.
And I know it was just white,
That's the drum line.
but
It doesn't look like it does. Hey, Colleen,
Yes.
I don't, does AT&T have a backer board on it? It doesn't look like
I
it. So,
haven't seen it.
so it would act,
yeah, we actually,
But they got the
We'll actually
multi-part
wire
thing
wall
going
wire.
on.
each wire comes through, gets put into the conduit.
Okay, but that has to be hidden behind this.
It goes through, we would have to, take a hammer drill and drill all the way through to the inside. Each one of those wires comes through. It gets wired into a box with the drivers.
Okay.
And then the driver box is what actually gets wired to the power.
Okay, so if you had a backer board, doesn't that make this a lot easier? Because you could have all that
Just
in
do
the backer board and.
everything wired inside the
Okay,
pan.
well, that's,
And then you make a whip wire that goes through the wall, and then it goes to your.
So did you say it was, Anderson?
okay, do you have the building signs?
They said if it was gonna be
I
white.
wanna see.
I think they said if it was gonna be white they wanted me to try to talk to the customer and to change the color. And they said if it's gonna be white, just drop the pan altogether because the back of the building's white.
Okay. Yeah, that's the one you showed me, that's the same picture.
They're trying to get the customer to change their logo. I can understand why that would feel like a non-starter.
AT&T doesn't have a bagger board,
Yes.
It's all they're trying to do.
No.
because then it would alternate.
And then.
If AT&T doesn't have a bagger board, then it goes bagger board, no bagger board, bagger board, no, it would actually look better.
All customers.
It would look weird if all but one,
It's dark gray.
it is dark gray behind it, it's not the siding,
Reach out to me.
okay.
I did not bring it with me. I should.
Does it have a backer on it, or is it just over the
I don't know if
siding?
it was through email or a phone call.
Okay.
That
Yeah,
they would
it's not
prefer
the same material.
not to be on the
I
backer
see.
and on the building.
But would it alternate
The
then?
reason I put it on the backer too is it's less
It
holes.
doesn't, because
on
it
the
doesn't have
side.
the same,
For vendors. I mean, well, the pan costs a
doesn't have
little
the
bit
same
more,
material.
but I believe.
So
they're
this
in-
looks
in-
like-
I'm just wondering
Probably
if they're
be
the odd one out right now,
uh,
does it actually balance it to have two odd ones out then?
more odds.
That's what
better.
I'm almost wondering. Well, then you have the same situation where you have three of them with a backer board and one without. So you're creating that either way, yeah.
No.
What are we saying?
No.
What happened?
The building, if you look at the building, it was designed as three separate buildings. You got the Chipotle building, the AT&T building, and then the Jersey Mike Squeeze building. So we're not putting two different color sign bands
Right.
on the one building. That's the same thing we talked about at the very beginning of this meeting.
That's
with two different
definitely
color awnings on the same
Right.
That's definitely not.
You could have two different signs, but not the sign panel, the sign board that was intentionally designed into the building. So, okay, so I think it's yes or no on the sign that was being proposed. And the client's not willing to put the backer board on there.
If it's a different color than white.
Mhm.
And one of the other problems we had is that the customer originally he liked the idea of it, but it had to match the building exactly, which I understand. And I don't know if that is actually a painted substance. Is that the ASIC board,
What?
like
Why
exterior?
do we have to match it exactly, first of all? I don't understand.
That was a customer's request.
I would think it would look better that way too, than have
Yeah.
two different whites
Well-
up there
Oh, yeah.
with the letters
But
on it.
we're talking, but we're wanting it to look like a distinct sign. So
Yeah.
that's
I mean,
all
so
I'm
if the
saying.
white is a little different, it will stand out.
Well, and it will be over time anyhow, so that's.
And it's gonna be a different finish. It's gonna have a slight
Yeah.
satin finish on it because it is gonna be painted. So I mean, it will never perfectly match that
Right.
basic board.
It's different.
I mean, white, as you know, if you don't have a paint code and to match white to a T when it's gonna be directly on top of each other is almost
Well,
impossible.
Yeah, that's a 5-year-old white, you're never gonna.
Yeah,
and
it's
it's not
got some
gonna
sun
match.
fading on it.
So if you put it right on the board like that, are you in the ceiling of that, of squeeze to drill all your holes through, or is the new tenant that moved in upstairs in the apartment, is he gonna be kicked
I
out for
believe,
2 days while you drill holes in? It's probably in the
I looked,
ceiling.
it looks like the ceiling's high,
Yeah.
it goes up to where the sign band is, and I imagine it has to have this, I wasn't able to get inside, but just from surveying.
Actually, I think it's,
Yeah.
I think it's in the living rooms.
Is it?
Yeah, and I can
Well,
see from the Google Earth, it's AZAC boards, because there's 4 of them across each sign.
Mhm.
Okay, well, that makes sense. Right.
And then, I believe there has to be a crawl space in there between that
Probably
wall.
is, yeah.
Because, I mean, if the Jersey Mike is brought in through that way, where it's on a pan, I mean, that wire has to come through.
Okay.
And I don't imagine that they would
No.
pop a hole and have to
Down
push
wall,
it through a wall, down and into the ceiling of Jersey Mike's.
But that would just be one wire if you're on a pan. If you're
Yes.
going right on there, you got, to me, that seems like, I like this, but I think it'll be
Oh, yeah.
a more expensive sign to install.
Either way
Text
looks
her,
good.
she said she didn't
I
know.
mean, I'm doing a white pan for a spa in Depew right now. They asked me why I did it. I said because you save also putting, I mean, one, two.
Yeah,
four,
holes.
five, six, seven. I mean, you're drilling a hole all the way through from the outside. I mean, you can insulate it and fill it, but I mean, it's a brand new fascia. We're only putting holes all the way through the front of the building.
And I think the precedent has been set with the pan,
Mhm.
right, on all of them. that true?
Not the
No,
Not
AT&T,
AT&T.
it's on Clapper, it's a different facade
Yeah, the
material.
facade's there.
There is no designated signboard panel on the AT&T facade.
Okay.
It is just that clapboard all the way to the awning, to the storefront system. So,
You know, this almost makes me think too, I mean, you guys are looking for variation in the storefront. I'm almost wondering if we ask the tenant and if you guys were okay with it. The face has to be white, but who said anything about the 3-inch edge of the pan? We could always paint that
Yeah.
orange or green
Look like a frame
to
or
to
something.
set that
Sure.
apart.
Yeah, that's true.
If we paint the face white and set that edge apart from the white of the building, we'll also separate the whites. So when if they're touching, you'll see color difference if they're touching. If there's like a strip of green or a strip of orange around that edge, it will,
Why don't we,
Or you get it off.
yeah.
why don't we table it and see what?
why
Yeah,
don't we approve it as
what's
just
his name?
described, and then if he doesn't want it, then he can come back. But
So
otherwise,
she
you
got
move forward and.
Well,
be done.
but so we're gonna let him decide green or orange, I guess.
I mean,
I don't care what color it is, do you?
I don't really
We
see
don't
any
care.
other fitting color, but I mean, I don't know if you,
No, I agree. It has to be one of
I mean, you
those,
have some green on the
Or
awning
black.
there, but
or black.
that could work as well.
It could look like a, chip porcelain, something like that.
To predict that.
Can we talk about the delicate face sign?
Yeah,
That's a different,
that is going to be that 4-inch acrylic with stud pads mounted to the back.
Okay.
And then there's a 2-inch stud that's put into that. And those are actually put with construction adhesive. We have a drill pattern, we drill our holes, we put a construction adhesive, and those get actually stud mounted into the side.
so not lit.
And not lit, no. No, those are just non-lit pieces.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure we talk about both.
So if you go down to the Bevelakla building, like, take one of those, it's the acrylic letters on the sign panel, and there isn't a dimensional raise off of that.
For the dimensional, or the acrylic letters.
Yeah.
They're about a 1/4 inch thick. So they're
Like 1/4 inch thick.
1/4 inch thick, and then they're just cut to shape.
Mhm.
And then it has a stud pad on the back that has the stud screwed into it, and then it's tapped down into the wall. So it will stand off the wall. The stud pad gives you about 1/2 inch, or 3/8, 1/2 inch around there, and then the actual thickness of the acrylic, so it should be a 1/4.
So if we were to treat it the same way as the Main Street one,
Mhm.
non-haloed,
Mhm.
would you be able to prevent all of those taps from going into the existing AZAC board and only put them into
Mhm.
the backer board with the trim and then apply that to the
We
building?
have those studs, they come in all different sizes. I was using 2 because 2 is what's like clarified in all of the regulations, if that's what you guys want. I mean, we could use like 1.5 inch. I mean, the AZAC board, and you just obviously have like insulation and some kind of finishing board behind that.
Mhm.
I mean, if we do like 1.5 inch and drill our holes with our step bit, with that step for that depth, we can drill them so it doesn't go all the way in. Put the construction adhesive, tap it in, and it will never actually reach the interior layers.
Are you asking like how many screw holes are there gonna be in the AZAC? Is that what the question is?
Well, there's brick behind it,
right,
Yes.
it'd be good not to get
and they're
into
not
the
gonna,
brick if you could.
and they're not gonna see where all the motor grids are.
Right, exactly.
And that's the thing is, we don't have to go all the way through the brick if what you're asking. We can go in until we feel it's necessary, but it's not all the way through, so that it will not only be like secure, but it's not going to cause any damage to the building or anything.
No, I'm just wondering, was it approached with your client then to pan this side?
There was a
Sign
backer, on there, but again, with this now, with a dimensional acrylic, we don't typically go dimensional where we actually add depth to the pan itself, because these are just acrylic letters.
Mhm.
Usually if you put a backer on those, we'd actually attach them with adhesive and VHB, like an exterior rated adhesive, and then like the VHB tape that helps set that construction adhesive. And again, to match that ASIC board with a satin finished aluminum panel on the back, or on the actual sign band, for it to look like it's all the same color, you'll never be able to get it exact. So then I offered to just do on the side the stud mounted, and he liked that.
But so now would the one on the site also look like it had the band around it thing? Whatever the band of color?
Saying no.
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 I mean, I don't care about that. But, it would make it look more appropriately sized, is what Tom said.
Yeah, the
Well-
one on the side's much smaller.
Yeah,
The only
I
thing
know it
is that they will probably themselves realize that that front, once you change that sign in the front,
yes,
that this one won't match it very well.
right.
Okay.
You know, so it depends on how much they care about that consistency.
Mhm.
I don't think the Ellicott, North Ellicott Street side looks particularly huge, and
It
there's
doesn't.
nothing else around it.
Yeah, because it's on.
Does the Chipotle have a side sign?
No, they're not
They're
on
not-
the side
The
street.
driveway.
Is it a parking lot entrance over there? He wasn't particularly, like with the side one, when I told him about the back panel,
Mhm.
and we could just do stud mounted, he was fine with that. He didn't seem so super set on, anything with the side sign, he just wanted to have it because it is a street there.
Well, yeah, of course. It's part of being required.
So is everyone comfortable approving the North Ellicott as submitted?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so the Main Street one, is everyone comfortable with it being approved as submitted with a pan of green, orange, or black
Well, it was white pan with.
White pan with the border.
Green, orange, or black border.
border?
Or edging.
And what's the thickness of that edging or
The
border?
band, we can make them 2.5 to 3 inch, I don't know if you guys had a,
How far do those stick off?
these are 3 inches as well.
Three.
So the letters will be
Match.
3 inches.
Mhm.
So if the border on the pan is 3 inches thick to match that, we can do that, and what's the width that the border would be?
Well, the border would actually be like the folded over edge, so it'd be the same
Right.
as the depth.
So you're only gonna see white
Yeah,
on
I
the
think
front.
it's-
On the
So
front,
like-
So
with
the
the
face is
band
white,
on the end.
The edge where it's folded over and welded together, that's where it will be painted the color.
Oh, you guys will call, every sign manufacturer's calling it something different. Well, that was HPC, yeah.
Yeah.
This is different. Okay, so you're not gonna actually see anything on
The face.
the face.
But as you're
Well,
like if you're walking, you'll
yeah.
see that orange edge
Yeah, in
because it's
reality,
still.
you're always gonna see the color, like, as you move. and-
Yeah, of course, that's right.
Because no one is gonna be seeing it straight on. Everyone's gonna be either driving or walking underneath it. You're gonna see the dimension that it sticks out.
You guys are comfortable?
Well,
I mean, that's what your Chipotle sign is, that's just by a 3 inch pan on there,
Yeah.
and then the letters stick out a couple 3 inches.
Yeah, they're usually, however it's spaced out, if it's 2.5 letters, it's usually a 2.5 man.
I don't think so.
so,
Did you wanna see a picture?
you want to see a picture first?
I'm pretty sure I understand the section.
Yeah.
It's just a 3 inch. And what material is it?
It's aluminum,
It's
yeah.
aluminum.
And this would be
Oh,
rec,
it's aluminum with a frame on it, okay.
It's boxed out, so the side of it.
Yeah, it looks like a box, and then we'll actually mount aluminum angle to the building. And then it slides over that angle and it's attached from the top and the bottom, so there's no hardware soft in the front.
So the aluminum angle is painted, then the black, orange, or green, is it?
The pan,
The paint, the side of it.
yes, it would be painted white on the face, and it's, I think we said orange, green, or
Green or
black.
orange.
black. Yeah.
Or black.
Yeah.
That's right.
Now, that pan is rectangular, it's not rounded at the end,
Nope.
you know, it's.
No, it would be square.
Does that sound okay? I mean, they gotta have something.
All right, let's just get this.
They just gotta have
All
something.
right, so I'll make a motion. Yeah.
Before you bake it,
Sure.
Yeah.
your motion's including or is based on, you're doing a waiver for the area and for the payroll or
For
internal
the
sign.
external illumination, or I'm sorry, the
Internal illumination. And for the overall size for cumulative for all the signs. And that's based on section 84-5C, number 4. That's the part of the sign code that gives you the ability to waive those two things. It's
I'd like to make a motion for new business 2025 TBO1 for 5712 Main Street, Squeeze Juicery for signage. That the sign will receive a waiver per section 84-5-C-4 for
Sorry.
the
Yeah, okay, I would say a waiver from
waiver from the area.
section.
I can tell you those two sections.
Oh, I'm sorry, 84-18H1
And that's the area,
with that's both actually,
okay?
with respect to the total area, maximum area allowed and illumination.
Type,
Yeah, or, yeah, waiver from the requirement that it only be externally illuminated.
Limitation.
Yeah. The prohibition on internal illumination, either way you want to phrase it.
so I'd like to make a motion. Let's start over. To make a motion for law 2025 PDO1 5712 Main Street, Squeeze Juicery signage. That this board grant a waiver from section 84-18H1 with respects to the maximum allowable area and the requirement of only external illumination type lighting. As allowed by section 84-5C4 for the signs submitted and to approve the Main Street Squeeze Juicery sign as submitted with the following modification. That the sign be placed on an aluminum pan with a white face, white matte face to match the existing signboard. And the sign pans, the pan sides are to be either green to match the sign, orange to match the sign, or a black. The pan is to surround the sign as submitted with give me a range for a buffer of how close you want this to be. What would you suggest? So.
How big is the pan gonna be?
How big is the pan gonna be?
Say, trying to think, the Jersey Mike one, I think the Jersey Mike one was. I think the
We have it
number was
right
like a
here, if
30
somebody can read this.
I think it was 32 inches. But that sounds like a number that's in my head.
Say 2 foot something.
What was the total area of the sign you just mentioned, the letters?
2 to 4 and 4, so yeah, so that's 28. That's the sign. It's bigger than that.
It was 33.5 inches tall.
Okay,
It looks like maybe 6 inches above and below the letters.
okay, yeah,
And
so,
something like that, and they were
Not to exceed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was gonna do a not to exceed.
um,
6 inches outside the letter.
6 inches outside the letters and.
In all directions.
Well, what about the logo? Because the logo is a little
This
higher.
thing?
Well, I guess that's the same height almost as the top of the J.
Yeah, it is.
I have it centered on there. I mean, I had it originally drawn up where it would leave it an even around the space at the top and the bottom. I don't know the exact size of that pan because there was something that
So
was.
this was what you were proposing?
Yeah, that's originally what it looked like, but I just put the square there so you could see like, it's in the sign there.
Well, then how about sign not to exceed 33.75 square feet?
I think that might be the face of it.
That's the letters themselves.
That's the letter themselves.
Yeah,
not
so
just
if you,
the
yeah, if you
rectangle.
actually, if that's the 27 times 180, and then divide it. Or, I'm sorry,
That's the whole signboard, isn't it?
What's that?
Like three square feet.
the 33 and 3/4 inch is the, that's the actual square footage of, from
That's
edge of letters to
total
the edge of
sign
those orange
area.
pieces to the top to the bottom.
So, but this is what you want, something that looks like this.
Mhm.
Something that looks like.
So I would say, I mean, probably 8 inches on top of, 4 at the top, 4 at the bottom, which would be
Say equidistant.
31, that'd be 35 inches, because I believe that sign band is around 42.
And then what's the side?
So the width,
Does it also extend 4 inches or is it more than 4 inches of white space?
I would do 180 is 15 feet. So if we're doing 4 on the top and the bottom, it's typical that there's usually a little more space on the sides than the top and bottom, so maybe do 8 inches of relief on each side, 16. Because I can always make it in, I'll make it in there.
If it's not to exceed.
Not to exceed.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to exceed.
Okay.
4 inches and 8
So
inches.
for clarification, then when I left off, then the pan is to be 4 inches of additional, space on above the letters, below the letters. Or did I say not to exceed? So it's
You
not
didn't,
to
but that's,
exceed.
yeah, not to
Not to
exceed 4
exceed
inches.
4 additional inches of pan above the letters, 4 additional inches of pan below the letters, and not to exceed 8 inches of additional pan on either side of the text and logo. The pan is to be erased 3 inches. And the letters are to be reverse channel letters
That's proposed.
as proposed and in the colors shown on Exhibit A. The sign shall be mounted centered horizontally and vertically in the sign panel of the building along Main Street. Anybody else?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. You want a second?
Well, you wanna did you do the side sign?
Not
Or
yet.
you can do that separate, okay.
Who seconded that?
Second.
Wally? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0. Okay. So then a motion for log 25 CB01 5712 Main Street, New
Both
Jersey,
sides have different
for a
colors.
sign on North Ellicott Street as submitted.
It's A and B.
That's a different number.
And it is to be non-illuminated. and mounted horizontally and vertically centered. Is there a second?
Second.
Wally, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0. Okay, thanks for working on this.
That signs are confusing.
Very good job explaining.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Very much.
Okay, so that concludes our agenda this evening. Does anyone have any other items to go to the order? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to close the meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Wes, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0.
Seconded by everyone.
I'm gonna get